Okay, so individual cameras or live view, you have many tools. You've got multiple windows. You can select different cameras to view all at once. You can enable alarms, alarm outputs, and that is just like a relay out the back. That isn't used too often. You can change the image settings on the camera. Uh, and you can look at multi-playback, or you can do playback on multiple cameras at once. There's a couple different ways to do many of these things, but one of the very first things is if you tap anywhere on the screen, you're going to pop up with several different menus. You can pause the view, you can turn your audio on and off. You can change the resolution, so you'll notice that if I put it in low, the image quality gets very poor. So if you ever see it not looking as crisp and clean as it should be, that's because it's in low res. You can kick that back up to high, and the resolution will be nice and clean. So obviously, as you saw there, I can zoom in and zoom out with just the fingers like a normal photo. And then you've got a tablet mode over here where you kick it and it'll flip sideways. So that's one handy little feature in there. So the next setting that we see here is playback. I'm sorry, we skipped the multi-view. So I could view multiple cameras by selecting the little box. You can view 4, 6, 9, 12, however many cameras you have simultaneously. That's what that little square is. So the next thing that we want to talk about is playback. And so all of our cameras record on motion. They also record on video analytics, and so we're going to get a little into the analytics a little bit more here, but just a generic straightforward playback creates a timeline that you can go back and search video. You can also change the date. So let's say that I wanted to go back and look at last Friday at let's say noon-ish. I could just choose the time on the 5th and say okay, and it's going to automatically go back to that date. And sorry, I clicked a box out of my way. It's going to go automatically back to that date if there's data there. Lastly is the analytics, and that is this message button. And so this is kind of an interesting thing, and really, really helps you when you want to go. Let's say I'm searching a date or time on the 10th, and you'll notice that as I scroll back in and forward or backwards, you can see that there is a little bit of motion right here, and that was a vehicle that was pulled up into the driveway. Now, this can be extremely cumbersome because you're actually searching, minute by minute, trying to find a time or a date. Like here's another little line here where maybe another vehicle pulled in or something occurred at that particular point in time. Needless to say, that's very cumbersome to try to find that vehicle. And so what we can do is we can utilize video analytics, and video analytics comes in as a message. And so you can see that I have a whole list of motion or ultra motion there, but by default it's going to have this little orange bar here, and this little orange bar is, if you click that, it's going to take us out to your settings by default. Now I've already got mine enabled, so I'm going to have to get in there a different way. And how I get in there is with this little gear icon up in the top right hand corner of any image. And so if I click on it and I hit the gear, it's going to take me into that individual camera and allow me to set different settings for that individual camera. We can do a myriad of things. We can look at what the storage is. We can enable the sound input and output if it's got a speaker and a mic. We can adjust the pan tilt zoom settings. Obviously this isn't a PTZ, but we can adjust the PTZ. We've got diagnostic information. We can change the image, so if for some reason you need wide dynamic, in other words you're in a dark room shooting a camera against a bright window, you would want to enable WDR. You can flip the image if for some reason it needs to be inverted. I don't really use that a ton, but that's an option. You can kick the smart illumination on, and so that's either going to be an IR or white light. In this case, this particular camera that I have has the capability for both white light, infrared, or using both. That's what the smart illumination is. Some cameras need this, some do not. You can also adjust when it flips over to monochrome from color. If it's that particular type of a camera, you can actually schedule it, when to turn the illuminators on or off, or typically we just leave it in auto. So that's an interesting thing. Now this particular camera, I've got plenty of light out there. I don't use smart illumination. You can just toggle that on and off. So that's a handy little setting in there. Some cameras have the capability to do two-way audio, and they'll have a customized alarm sound. And so if I want to, I can go ahead and hit add alarm sound, and record a message like get off my lawn, or hey, welcome, whatever it might be. You could do that in your own voice. You could name it, and then the camera would actually speak that audio. So that's pretty slick. Most importantly, or how we get these messages to appear on our live view box, is we're going to go into this thing called alarm detection. And all of our cameras have many capabilities, VCA capabilities. One is intrusion, line crossing, enter area, leave area, fall detection. These types of things are all analytics that are typically built into a kind of a standard camera. All of the cameras, no matter what, are going to have motion detection. And with our cameras, there's two modes. There is a normal mode, and then there is an ultra mode. And I'm just going to flip mine just real quick to normal mode so that you can see that this is a traditional motion detection grid. And so you can see that there's shaded areas here that I have kind of cut out the leaves in this particular thing so that it doesn't trigger motion all the time. The downside or the bad side of motion detection is in this very scenario where if this bush moves, then I'm going to get a whole bunch of recordings. That can give you a ton of falses and not really be a good thing for looking back. And so what we typically do with our cameras is we enable what's called ultra mode. And in ultra mode, you can see that it may look at the entire screen. You can see that I've got a box here that goes around the entire screen. But the beautiful thing is it uses video analytics, and it can tell the difference between a human and a vehicle. And so you'll notice down below that I've got a sensitivity setting, and then it's asking me what is it that I want it to look for. Do I want it to look for a motor vehicle, a non-motor vehicle, or a pedestrian, or all three? So I can kind of dial this in. It also allows me, in this particular case, because this is an active deterrence camera, it allows me to play that sound that I maybe had made earlier, or I can select a defined or a predefined sound, like you've entered a restricted area or something like that. I can customize this. I can change the time in which it goes off. So for example, I could say, hey, I only want this to go off at from midnight to 6 a.m. I could make it so that it goes automatically, turns on at night. Whatever the case may be, I could schedule that alarm sound. Your camera may have a flashing light, and so the same exact thing occurs. I can customize the schedule any way I want to, or I can just toggle it off. In this case, I don't have my active deterrence turned on or off, but now I have enabled it so that it's only looking for vehicles or pedestrians, and I have a detection area of the entire screen basically. And so what that's going to do once I enable all of this, when I go all the way back to my main screen and I look at the message button, it's going to create a list rather than me going through and looking through all of this playback business where I've got to go minute by minute. I can just simply pop up the message. I can click on that particular event and it's going to show me either a pedestrian or a vehicle only. It doesn't care about this bush moving or anything like that. So that's one way that we can very quickly go through a list of motion, ultra motion vehicles or humans and pull it up very quickly. So that's pretty handy. Now let's go back in there and let's look at other options that we have for analytics. So we have what's called intrusion detection, and intrusion detection, in this case I have it enabled, and you'll notice that I have a little box kind of on the driveway basically saying, hey, if anybody comes onto the driveway or they cross into this box, it's going to create an event and potentially notify me if I have that enabled. If I had the text enabled as we talked about earlier, or the push notification enabled, it would alert me when somebody enters that box. Another option that we have here is line crossing, and so you'll notice that I also have line crossing enabled, and in this case I've got a line up against the house, and you'll notice that it has an arrow on it that goes one direction. So if somebody came from this direction and crossed the line, it would set it off. But if I were in the bushes here and I went that way, it would ignore it completely. How you can change that is you can select these little items, and then see how there's two arrows there. So it's directional. Whichever way that you want the alert to occur, you just set the line and then check the box and it will save it. And again, you can set it to a non-motor vehicle, pedestrian, or a motor vehicle. So in my case, obviously I don't perceive any vehicles coming across that line, so I've got a non-motor vehicle and a pedestrian. If they cross that line, the alarm sound is going to go off, and what it's going to say is, please be aware you're in the monitored area. And so it will actually scream that during after hours, say 11:30 midnight to 6 a.m. if somebody crosses that line. And it'll also flash a light. So that's how we can kind of use the active deterrence cameras. It's a real slick way to do that. We've also got some other options, enter area and leave area. I think they're pretty self-explanatory what they are. And then if you have a specialized camera, we use these a lot in retirement homes, things like that. Maybe in the front of a commercial building where there's potentially ice, something of that nature, you can enable fall detection. Now, this particular camera does not have that capability, and so it says loading failed. But these are all ways that you can kind of enable a push notification that goes like this. And remember that if we want this to actually notify us like a text, then we have to go back into the global setting. So we go back into the entire device, we hit the three dots, and we go to set, and then we go into that allow alarm notifications. And that is, the first one enables the message list inside the app, and the second one actually notifies the phone like a text. And so you can actually schedule that as well. So for me, I don't like getting blown up all day, so I turn that one off, but I keep this one on so that I have a list that's being generated inside of the particular individual camera. So if I chose this individual camera and I hit message, it's going to create that list. So, and that's how you do that.